in quite some time. So it's going to feel good to get out there and enjoy some chicken and waffles or an omelet and hash browns, toast, and all that good stuff tomorrow morning. I'm anticipating, I am eagerly waiting that show for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's
we'll
great.
have fun today, but we're going to have fun tomorrow.
You never know
too.
what they're going to add to the menu. One time I had a waffle with Reese's on top of it. And
probably not good for you.
Well, it wasn't bad. I didn't,
I didn't say it wasn't good.
No,
I just said probably not good for you.
I had it once, but and to show you how much I love eating out, for the first time I've been at my place for about a year, I finally used the oven last night.
Whoa.
It was great. It worked.
Whoa. It worked.
Yeah.
What did we put into the oven?
Oh, I had some lasagna and some cinnamon apples, so it was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Oven smelled good, and I didn't burn it down. I did make sure, I did make sure it turned off.
I was going to say, did you turn it off?
Yeah. That double and triple check there. Don't need any issues, man.
Is that the first time the oven has been on since you've moved into the new place?
I think so. No, I have lately used the stove itself, but yeah, I have an oven stove combo. See.
Okay. How long have you been there?
A year. So
I
eat out a lot at places like our great sponsor, Metro Diner.
Right. I know. And Bob Howard's Victory Grill.
Oh, yeah. Know the whole menu. I'll be there tonight in place of the great West neighbors, so be eating some food from over there.
No ooey gooey wing finger bowl.
Not lately.
No.
I've been go fishing. That's because trying to get my my mouth fixed here, so have to be careful. I've already eaten one
tonight, so you can eat well tomorrow morning.
Yeah, there you go. Now I'm gonna eat well. That'll be 2 meals in a row. I'll be rolling, so I'll be ready for that.
Not that we keep track.
No,
of how many
but no, I won't be able to keep up with you. I mean, you eat faster than anybody. If he's listening, you and my buddy Todd Tipton need to have a race. Y'all are the two fastest eaters I think I've ever seen.
I try to get it sometimes done during a commercial break.
Wes is pretty fast himself, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
All right, 256-576.
Just thought I'd share that personal stuff there.
No, I am shocked though. I'm glad you did because I
figured people would be like
shocked
a year, and you haven't used the oven.
I am shocked that's the first time in a year you have turned on the oven.
Well, I mean, I started to a few times and
just didn't
never got around to it, So
all right,
I do know it works now, though. So
that is good.
Yeah.
Now you can expand though. You need to expand on that and try other things within the oven.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a broil feature. I don't know how much I'll be broiling. I was looking at that last night.
You got to get an air fryer. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. I did just.
Chad, it took him a year to turn on the oven.
I did just get 2 toasters though.
Yeah, but you can cause problems with the oven. You can't really cause problems with the air fryer.
Yeah. Do you air fry?
Yes.
If I don't have something in the oven, it's a lot easier to.
And you air fry too, huh, Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That might be on the Christmas list. Get an air fryer.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's how we get you started this morning. The big topic, I don't know if it's a big topic. It keeps popping up. I guess it's a big topic. This whole Freddie Freeman and his agent Saga. I mean, is it a topic or is it just needs to go away topic?
The thing that irritated me was I've always considered Freddie Free a guy that was extremely genuine. And there were some people that thought he was almost putting on when he was so emotional after they won game 1, and he met the media and he was in tears. It was
barely
completely
could stand
it was completely authentic. I think he wanted to be there. I know there was people in the media questioning Doug Gottlieb's tweet about, and of course, the agent that just got fired is vehemently denying what happened. But I would not be surprised just because if you listen to 680 The Fan and Chipper Jones, called in or they had him on right after the decision was made and they made the Matt Olson trade he shed a lot of light on it because the thing is, Freddie had a chance to agree to a deal like during the season last year. He turned it down, and Chipper warned him. He said, look, man, you're playing a dangerous game. If you want to be a Brave, you better let Alex know. You better let your agent know. And he goes, and I was, and I played a long time, played with this organization in my entire career. And my agent worked for me. I didn't work for the agent. And he basically said, that's why I didn't hire Scott Boras out of high school.
Right.
Because Boras felt like, you basically work for me. No. I'm going to choose my agent, and I'm telling my agent where I want to be. And when I tell him that, we're going to be here, or you're not, pretty much was the tone of it. So you represent me. You represent what I want, so you get it done. When I tell you, like, I'm not leaving here, I like my manager, love the organization, you're going to work it out. Y'all going to work something out. And, again, everybody's pointed out that he got the extra year from the Dodgers, but due to state taxes, when you look at the Braves offer, and I'm talking about state taxes in the great state of California that I love so much, it's less money than what he would have made with the Braves. Okay? And that's just it. That's just the bottom line. Now, he is from there, but he had a great emotional attachment to Atlanta. And it's telling that he fired his agent.
Right. And in Major League Baseball, the Players Union Association sent a letter yesterday to Freddie Freeman's agents. The firm Excel basically said you can no longer have contact with Freddie Freeman. That is the indication that he fired the agents. Now, the stories and stuff that came out yesterday was that there was a deal on the table that Freddie Freeman did not get told about, did not know about from the Atlanta Braves, that he was not aware of the offer on the table from the Braves, and that is what led to a lot of the anguish and the problems. Braves fans are like, well, we want Freddie Freeman back. Can we get him back? Can we trade for him back? Dodgers just need to let him come back to Atlanta.
I mean, everybody loves Freddie Free. He's one of my favorite Braves of all time, like Dale Murphy. I think he's the greatest first baseman in Braves history, but here's the thing, what I just said. Dale Murphy didn't finish with the Braves either.
Yeah.
Very few of them do. There's very few Chipper Jones. John Smoltz, Greg Maddux,
we went through
Tom
this,
Glass.
as a Cubs fan, we went through this with Mark Grace.
Yeah, that's a great point. When he went to the Diamondbacks, right?
Went to the Diamondbacks. Yeah. And the Cubs didn't want to, they couldn't, it was kind of time
He's
to
getting
move
older.
on,
older.
He goes to the Diamondbacks and wins a World Series.
2001.
But it was hard to see him leave Chicago.
Yeah.
Go to Arizona, come back as a Diamondback in Wrigley Field. It was hard to see that. It happens in the game. The Dodgers aren't going to wake up tomorrow and send Freddie back to Atlanta because he doesn't want to be there.
And I hate to be all about business here, but the Braves traded for Matt Olson, and I understand right now in his last 10 games, though, he has hit .351. And he had 2 more hits last night. I believe it was 2 doubles, had 2 bombs the night before. But the thing is, he's younger and probably close to as good a defender as Freddie Freeman. So, and you've got him under an 8-year contract. So, so I just think, I hate to say it, and I have 2 Freddie Freeman jerseys myself, but you just have to move on because you have a younger player. I think he's 5 years younger, which is significant. You have him under a significant contract. He's an all-star caliber player. Certainly you had to give up a lot to get him, but I still think it wasn't something that's going to really hurt the organization long term. Now what you do with some of this money, to me, is there's a lot of conversation about Dansby Swanson, and he's having a heck of a year, maybe the best of his career. I know there's also conversation about Trey Turner because he's going to be a free agent, ironically, with the Los Angeles Dodgers and supposedly wants to get back to the East Coast. But I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I'm the Braves, I'm trying to probably get him to take a little less money, but I'm trying to sign Dansby Swanson because you've had him the entire time. He's a Georgia kid who played in the SEC, who I think wants to be with the Atlanta Braves. He's an unbelievable defender, and I think he's getting better offensively. Some say he's too streaky, but I'll just say this. I think he's gotten better every year of his career. He's still one of the best college baseball players I've ever seen. I think he won the Golden Spikes Award at Vanderbilt. So if I'm the Braves, I'm trying to lock him up. And then you start worrying about, locking up in a year or two Austin Riley.
Right.
Or Riley. I knew I'd say that. Austin Riley. Because Austin Riley's a basketball player. But Austin Riley, you try to lock him up in a couple of years, and then Max Fried and see where Soroka is physically, okay? You kind of just do them one one at a time. But to me, the next one to get paid is Dansby. And there's no guarantee you're going to get Trey Turner. Now, you can go after him hard. He could go back to the Nationals. He could go to the Mets, for crying out loud, even though they really have a shortstop already. Or he could go to the Yankees, or or Boston, even though they've got Xander Bogaerts.
Right.
I'm just saying, anything can happen. You're not guaranteed to being able to get. Of course, did I ever think I would see Carlos Correa with the freaking Twins of all teams? No.
That's a money grab.
No, and of course, people have talked about maybe he getting traded to the Braves because the Twins will never be able to keep him. They won't be winning, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, I think you're talking about fit, okay? Fit in your clubhouse, fit in your ball club. I still think you try to get Dansby Swanson signed to maybe a 4 or 5 year extension to be there for a while. And That's just me.
All right, so that's the Major League Baseball stuff. The whole Freddie Freeman saga still ongoing. Freddie did come out and say, though, about 48 hours ago that there needs to be closure. It's time. I'm a Dodger for the next 6 years. That's where my focus lies. I'm happy to be a Dodger. So that was from Freddie Freeman. We continue and move on. Throughout the show this morning, Jeremy Pruitt has resurfaced. He sat down with Mike Griffith from Dog Nation, who has been on this show and The Drive several times, to discuss everything about his time at Tennessee, discuss about when he would be back in the game of college football. We will hear from Jeremy Pruitt this morning. The other one that I want to get to, Terrion Arnold, cornerback for Alabama. Drew, there is a real possibility, and according to Terrion Arnold, that possibility probably lies greater than 60, 70%, that we will see him on the basketball court this coming year for Alabama. He says he's talked to Nate Oates. They talked about doing it last year, but he says he wasn't ready as a freshman because he wanted to get acclimated to everything on the college level. He says it's going to be difficult playing both sports. He says he already knows what people are going to say. We didn't meet expectations last year. You got to be solely focused on football. You need to be laser focused. But at the same time, he says that Coach Oates is a real dude, real chill. But he really thinks that he is going to play both sports this coming year.
Well, I think he's capable of doing it. And I don't think, barring injury, I do think he'll play some in the secondary, but I still think it's mostly going to be special teams, because I think ultimately his home is going to either be the slot, which I think Kyrie Jackson will man,
right,
or safety. And they have veteran safety. They have a lot of guys. You've got the Malachi Moores, but then really the guys that play the most snaps, DeMarco Helms, Jordan Battles, Brian Branches. These dudes are experienced, have played a lot of football. Terrion's going to keep learning from them, and I think eventually be a really good player. But I don't think he's going to play, what I'm trying to say is, a significant role in the secondary this year. He's going to be a significant backup in learning. Right. So that may allow him to eventually join the basketball team. And I'll be frank, he and Kool-Aid McKinstry were mentioned to do that when they came out. But I think Terrion was considered the better player. And I saw Kool-Aid play basketball many times. Good player. I don't think he was an SEC level player basketball-wise. I think he was probably more Division II, maybe mid-major. But I think, I only saw Terrion play on film. Many people thought he was a mid-major level guard. Maybe Power 5, but really more mid-major. He was still considered D1, though, a really good player. And as we know, Alabama has an open scholarship. Now, they wouldn't have to use that on Terrion because he's on football scholarship, but it would be another really good athlete to have on your team in practice. And I think that's probably why he and Nate Oates have been talking. And so Terrion, when he was being recruited through, coast to coast, that was one of the things he was considering heavily was basketball. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happened.
It did get me thinking. Some of the best of that because he wouldn't be the first, but it's been a while since we've seen a productive football player and basketball player do both. And so it got me thinking, who are some of the better ones to do it? Remember Tony Gonzalez? Tony Gonzalez played for Cal, played football and basketball.
That's right.
For the Cal Bears. Ronald Curry did it at North Carolina, played football for the Tar Heels, and then went on to play basketball. He led them in assists while scoring 5.5 points per game in a pair of NCAA tournament contests. Terry Baker did it back in Oregon for Oregon State back in the 60s. Julius Peppers did it in North Carolina.
And he and Tony are the two that I remember the most because they played significant minutes and were good players.
And then obviously you cannot forget Charlie Ward.
And then and you might even call him the GOAT of the whole thing because he won the Heisman Trophy and then turned around and didn't even play football in the NFL. He played in the NBA for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not saying Terry and Arnold is going to be the level of any of those five, but it just got me thinking about the last time we've seen somebody do football and basketball in the same years. Those are just some of the bigger names that have accomplished that feat on a major level.
That's right.
It's pretty tough to do.
It is. It really is.
Because the football season is a grind. You don't get a break. You literally go from one right into the other.
Well, and in college, it's hard to play two sports. But one of our great listeners, he's called in. He's been a guest on the show. He did it briefly and then went back to football because it took a lot of his, football. It was very important for him to be there, and he had a really good football career at Alabama, but Chris Anderson did it. He played center field at Alabama in baseball. Philip Doyle, one of his teammates, played third base and was a place kicker, but it was a little easier because you're not taking the pounding as a kicker, and there's not as much on you.
That's true.
But yeah, totally. Chris did it, and Chris was a really, really good baseball player at Huntsville High. From knowing his coach so well, Mark Mincher, he was a double-A caliber defensive outfielder, could run like the wind, as you know. Could run a legit, 4.4, maybe even under a 4.4, and swung the bat pretty well. So he was a really good baseball prospect, and so he did it for a short period of time until he and Coach Stallings kind of had a meeting of the minds, and he realized that he didn't want to fall behind and continue to tote the rock. And of course, he had over 1,500 yards in his career, and I still think holds the all-time record for the longest run from scrimmage in Alabama history, which was against Temple in 1996.
Conrad Holloway.
96 yards. I'm sorry.
Conrad Holloway probably could have played both for Tennessee if he wanted to back in the day. I'd imagine baseball and football. He was that talented.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Could there be somebody coming into this year's class at Alabama wanting to play both basketball and football? Could Alabama have that talent of a recruiting class? Rodney Orr will fill us in when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The Braves are rolling through the summer with some huge matchups and must-win battles, and we'll bring you every pitch.
High fly ball. Forget about it. It's another home run for Acuna.
Tonight, Dansby Swanson and your Atlanta Braves wrap up their trip to Philadelphia as they face off with the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Braves Radio's on the air at 4:50 Eastern, 3:50 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Did you know Kohl's has beyond epic deals just in time for 4th of July fun? I just got buy one, get one for $1 Jumping Beans Kids Finds, shorts for less than $18, and swimsuits for just $17.99. The best part? I didn't need any coupons, earned Kohl's Cash, and got free store pickup. So yeah, run to Kohl's. Select styles. Sale ends July 4th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Flow Trampoline Park is Huntsville's newest destination for family fun. There's an inflatable park for the little ones, air track basketball courts for the sports people, and a variety of other aerial sports attractions. Plus, plenty of couches and TVs for the spectators. Book your next party or outing at Flow Trampoline Park. Refuel at our caf or tap into your inner child with an arcade and 3 console gaming rooms. Flow is at South Parkway and Drake behind the Cracker Barrel. Learn more at flowhuntsville.com. That's flowhuntsville.com. Get your jump on at Flow Trampoline Park.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or We interrupt this message to announce our $1,000 appreciation cash reward. Attention all active military, reservists, retirees, and all veterans, plus first responders, police, fire department, EMTs, and medical professionals. An appreciation for making Huntsville the great city it is. You'll receive a $1,000 exclusive reward in addition to any public offers on most all 22 Fords. So please come see us today. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Our zone deal this week is truly an award winner. Metro Diner, serving up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. This Friday, you can get $50 worth of great Metro Diner food for half price, just $25 with our zone deal. Just log on 977ESPN.com Friday morning at 8 to get yours.
Not seeing anything accident-wise at this point. Doing well there. Traffic at a heavy level all across the valley. Definitely put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
So who is Wes Neighbors?
He's going to put an ass whooping meter on next year.
Does Wes know?
1 or 2 or 3 cans of whoop ass.
We can all figure it out. Weekday afternoons, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
On indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, 7:26 on a Wednesday, or Thursday morning. I did it again. Thursday morning. That's twice. And it's twice. Why would I want to short us a day? We're almost to the end of the week. But anyway, it is a Thursday.
I called Austin Wiley, so I had to correct myself. And it was 1991 for Chris Anderson, by the way, in Birmingham against the Temple Owls, 96 yards.
Got it. Don't forget, though, we will be at it again. I said towards the end of the week, we will have a show on Friday from Metro Diner. We will have a show Saturday from University Kia. So we're going to be out and about for the next 2 days. So you're going to get 6 days of shows for us. It's a busy time. It's a busy time for football recruiting as well. Alabama, busy as well. Another busy weekend because that dead period, believe it or not, is quickly approaching for the summer.
It's already there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
We're already under the dead period. Yeah, it'll sneak up on you. We're already on the dead period, but see, that doesn't mean you're not going to get commitments. And Alabama's had a flurry. I believe now they're up to 9 commitments now with the commitment last night of Cole Adams of Owasso, Oklahoma. Very impressive film. Was watching it this morning before the show. And we're going to discuss some Alabama football recruiting with our next guest. Since 1996, the preeminent source. It's an honor to be a contributor to that website. And, of course, we're talking about the founder and owner, Rodney Orr, and he's with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Rodney, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott.
Good morning, Drew and Scott. How are you guys?
We are good. And before we get to the news from last night, we weren't able to get to it yesterday. We had a lot on the docket. We were arguing about scheduling and the 9-game schedule, the 8-game schedule in the SEC. But Alabama got a significant piece. It's interesting because of the transfer portal being so prominent now, and because of the way the recruiting process has changed, some schools are shying away from junior college prospects, but Nick Saban, it's always chess, not checkers, I always say. He is still focusing on that with certain key areas of his football team, and he got arguably the top junior college defensive player in the country committed a couple of days ago in Justin Jefferson, Rodney.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson out of Poplarville, Mississippi at Pearl River Community College. You know, Drew, he's obviously a guy that's got great speed. I mean, when you look at him, he's been timed at under 4.4 in the 40 on a regular basis. Now, this is coming from his coach, Coach Seth Smith down there, who, in fact, his quote when I spoke to him was, he has bizarre speed. And, you know, when you talk about a guy that's 6'1", 220 pounds, can run in the 4.3s or 4.4s on a consistent basis, it's pretty amazing. Covers a lot of field. You look at him on tape, again, at that inside backer spot, has a lot of really natural instincts, and then they even put him on the outside. He's a great rusher from the edge. So that's an outstanding pickup, obviously.
No doubt about it. And also, before that, Alabama had a productive weekend. They got a couple of guys that are probably slated for the safety spot. We haven't spoken with you to get your take on them, but certainly I've talked about it myself, and I know you and I have talked as well. Bryson Hubbard is a very intriguing young man, someone that was committed to Scott Berry's Southern Mississippi baseball program, which is a very good program, by the way, for 2 years before he blossomed as a football player and got a couple of Power 5 offers from Alabama and Mississippi State. But he harkens back to me to an athlete along the likes of a Matt Jones, who I still think is one of the more unique players that we've seen in the SEC.
Yeah, when you look at Bryson Hubbard, it's just his athleticism jumps out at you. And I think, Drew, for the most part in his high school career, he may have played a little defense, I'm not sure, but he's mostly been a quarterback. And you look at him on tape, you just see him running away from people. He was a 6A Mississippi Mr. Football last year. He's been starting for 3 years or so. Came to Alabama's camp. I think he caught their attention immediately. They asked him to come back for a second camp, which he did. And my understanding was he was lights out at that second camp, where I know they timed him and had got an extremely good time in the 40 on him. So just an outstanding athlete. I think he's a safety. He's got great change of direction. He can do all those things. He's very smart. So, this is kind of one of those guys that people say, well, why are you taking a guy that's maybe not rated very highly? Well, Alabama gets him in camp. Nick Saban has an opportunity to put his eyeball on him. And, again, I wouldn't question his evaluation of talent.
Yeah, that young man could even play wide receiver potentially, but I think Coach Saban likes him, as you said, at safety, Rodney, no doubt about it. And then showing you how the NIL era and this of recruiting, and also with the summer official visits and of that nature, and the way things can change. Tony Mitchell, Thompson High School, the Warriors, Mark Freeman. He's a guy that actually is from my area, originally from Harvest, would have gone to Sparkman, but they moved out there to be a part of that program. Things 6 months ago, even 6 weeks ago, didn't look great for Alabama, but obviously Travarius Robinson, the coaching staff, things changed.
Yeah, actually, I talked to Coach Freeman earlier this week and about that, and the speculation was Texas A&M, maybe Florida, maybe Georgia. Alabama was kind of lurking in the background a little bit, and then after a period of time, I think Alabama did a really good job, according to Coach Freeman, of just kind of allowing him to evaluate all of his options, and then kind of laying it on the table for him in terms of, I think Travarius Robinson came in and had a great relationship with him previously. and kind of close the deal for Alabama. It's just big pickup, Drew, because listen, he's a guy that he can play all the positions in the secondary. He's played corner in high school. He can play the star position. He can play safety. I think eventually, and this is kind of what Coach Freeman said, is that he'll end up a safety in the mold of a Roman Harper or Mark Barron. This guy's 205 pounds right now. A lot of people list him at 180, but he's actually about 205, and that's coming straight from Coach Freeman. And so I think when you look at him, he's very physical. He's a great tackler. He's really good in coverage as well. So this is a big pickup for Alabama.
Tomorrow could be another day as well for Alabama. Riley Williams set to make his choice or his decision tomorrow on July 1st. Alabama, Miami, or Ohio State. 6'6", 230-pound tight end.
Well, I think he's a five-star talent. He's one of the guys that when I watched some of the tape over the past few months and started, familiarizing myself more and more with these guys, he jumped out at me. You just don't see a guy his size. You mentioned it there, and with his ability to run. I mean, he is a really talented athlete. With that said, I think Alabama made a great impression on his visit. I think they were in good position. I'm going to say right now, if I had to guess, it's probably Miami. I don't really know what all's going on down there, but they're attracting a lot of players. And I think that's probably – now, in fairness, he does have a previous relationship with Mario Cristobal.
Oregon, yep.
I think yes. Maybe that's a big part of it. I don't know. But, he's a guy that would have been and again, you never know what can happen and what can change even after an announcement. But right now, I think it's Miami.
Yeah, and of course, Rodney, we know that Peter Woods is going to announce in a few days. Same school as Tony Mitchell. There still seems to be a lot of momentum with Clemson. Certainly, there's a lot of angst among Alabama fans because of how good Woods has been. Really, we've known about him since his freshman year playing for Mark Freeman, helped them to 3 straight state titles. Certainly, he's also along an area of need on the defensive line. But kind of talk about where that stands right now.
Well, I mean, this is one of the more unusual recruiting, I think, scenarios that we've seen in a while. Because here's a guy that he's an in-state player, 50 miles down the road from Alabama, the campus, and he's been a big-time Alabama fan growing up. Alabama's been in great position with him. And then I think Dabo Swinney slipped in the back door, did a tremendous job getting him on campus for a visit. They did a great job while he was there. And also understand that he has a great relationship with the defensive line coach there at Clemson, Nick Eason.
He used to be at Auburn. Yep.
Right. And I think all of those things contributed to where we are right now, which is I think Clemson on July 8th will be the team that he picks. Now, with that said, what do you have? We got a week or so until that decision's made. I'm sure there's still a lot weighing on him. I know he's made his video, and the people I've talked to said that the ending is Clemson. So things could change. And also, Drew and Scott, you guys know this. From July 8th to December 15th is a long time. A lot of things can change. Emotions can wear off, whatever it is. So, we'll see what happens, because I can tell you, you can be assured of this, Alabama will not stop recruiting him very hard.
Yeah, that's right. Joseph Hastings said the same thing to us earlier this week from Bama on 3, and I think you're correct. Traquan Fagan, same thing. He committed to Miami last year and then eventually signed with Alabama out of the same high school, so we will see what happens. But in a more positive note, we kind of referenced it at the start of the conversation, but I still think it's a major piece of the puzzle. The first wide receiver of this 2023 cycle for Alabama, probably going to sign 2 or 3. But you look at Cole Adams from Owasso, Oklahoma. I was watching his film this morning, Rodney, before the show. Extremely quick twitch to me. A guy that's and certain guys are built to return punts. He seems to be one of those. A guy that's very physical, though. He will block. Good ball skills, leaping ability, body control, hands. Just talk about Cole Adams a little bit.
Well, I'm kind of laughing because you look at people. I even see the Alabama fans on Tighter Insider, and they're kind of profiling him to be somewhat like some of these other receivers that they've seen come through here before. That maybe are possession receivers. But this guy, look, he's a legit 10,600 meters, Scott and Drew. He's got legit speed. He happens to have, like you said, Drew, a lot of, if you want to call it twitch. He can change directions. He starts and stops on a dime. He has great vision. I mean, he can see the whole field when he's returning kicks. It's just pretty amazing. I'm not saying he's Jalen Waddle by any means. You would never say anything. You'd want to compare a guy to someone like that. But this kid is kind of that way in the sense that when he's returning kicks, he sees the whole field. He sets up his blocks. He has great speed, great change of direction, all of those things that you see. And then as a receiver, just runs really good routes. He's precise. He's got great hands. He can get down the field. He's a big play threat. He's the kind of receiver that Nick Saban really likes in terms of the speed now. Nick Saban said last year, he said speed kills. And I think that's really what kind of this guy brings. And, as far as the comparisons to Slade Bolden, this is nothing against Slade Bolden, but he's just a much more athletic, has much more speed, quickness, and change of direction than a guy like Slade Bolden.
He does. And Rodney, speaking of other guys, I know you had this feature on Tighter Insider last night. People always seem to ask this question, okay, well, who's next? And we knew that July could be very productive for this Alabama recruiting class, this 2023 cycle. And now coming up on July the 5th, we could see the second wide receiver to this class. And he may be, we talked about the number one junior college defensive player, Justin Jefferson, committing from Pearl River Community College. But what we could also see a wide receiver from the junior college ranks commit to Alabama in the coming days.
Well, I think Malik Benson may be the number one receiver on the JUCO circuit. He is about 6'1", 190. You're talking about explosive speed. He runs a 10.4. So
even faster than Cole Adams, in other words.
Yes. He's even faster. I mean, this guy can flat out. He may be even faster. No, I don't know about game speed, acceleration. I'd kind of have to see him. I like to see him in person, but he's probably got better times in the 100 meters than Jamison Williams did. But game-breaking speed. He's a guy that came to Hutchinson as a raw player. But he had that speed. They've developed him really well, very quickly, too. He had a great freshman year. He had over 1,200 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns. But talking to his coach, Drew Dallas, he told me, he said, listen, he said, this guy, when he got here, he had to really learn how to run routes, and he's worked extremely hard. He's got a great work ethic. This is the good thing about him, is he wants to be good. He wants to work hard. He wants to be a guy that ends up in the NFL. So I think when you combine all of those things, his speed, all of the tools that he has, with that work ethic, he could be a really special player.
He really could. And then there's four other guys that I know you mentioned on TighterInsider.com. The first one I wanted to ask you about could be a flip candidate. He's from Anniston, Alabama. He somewhat surprisingly committed to Georgia several months ago. But I know he's been on campus at the University of Alabama. I know Auburn has been after him hard, but he would be an interior guard prospect, and that's Rodriguez McKeldry.
Yeah, he's a guy at 6'4", 330 plus, and like you said, been committed to Georgia for a long time. Drew, Scott, you never know what a guy's going to do or when they're going to do it in terms of possibly flipping. But I do think that McElderry is a guy to keep an eye on. Maybe something happens within the next few weeks, maybe the month of July. We'll see what happens. But he is an excellent, offensive guard prospect. And I think when you look at what Alabama's doing, on the offensive line, he's a guy that would fit in really well. Again, they've got Wilkin Formby committed, 6'8", 315 pounds, out of here in Tuscaloosa Northridge, and he's a guy that probably is even, when you talk about his potential, you're going to see him, even though he's a 4-star, I think you'll see him move up in the rankings as this season goes along. So McElderry would be a great addition, and of course, I think they're going to sign at least 3 more. Would sign at least 3 more, total of 5 offensive linemen in this class. Maybe 6 if they got the right guys, but I think 5 for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. We're talking to Rodney Orr, TighterInsider.com. McElderry, I've got to get the name pronunciations correct. That's why Rodney's the best in the business. But talk about the other 3 defensive players you profiled on Tighter Insider last night who could choose Alabama in the coming days and weeks.
Well, I mean, again, I don't think there's any date set, but I know Malik Bryant out of IMG Academy. He's kind of gone quiet, Drew. I mean, nobody's been able to get a real good read on him. But again, anytime Miami gets involved right now, I think you have to kind of say it's kind of like Texas A&M. It's kind of like Tennessee, to be quite honest with you. There's probably going to be, and I'm not questioning the kid. I'm just saying what Miami's doing. There have actually, Drew and Scott, been kids that have visited Alabama. I'm talking about in the month of June that have been, like really high on Alabama. And I think the Alabama staff felt really good about them when they left here. But by the time they took some of these other visits, these kids are calling back wanting to know what kind of big opportunities they could have in NIL because these other schools have dropped some deals on them. And, again, I just think that anytime Miami's involved, Tennessee's involved, Texas A&M's involved, I think these schools, you have to, just to be honest about it, it kind of makes it difficult to make a prediction. But Malik Bryant's supposed to announce, I think, July 23rd. Some other players that I would keep an eye on that I think I mentioned in that, Drew, that you're talking about, Jordan Renaud, defensive lineman out of the state of Texas at Tyler Legacy. I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good player. He's a 4-star rated player. And then also Edric Hill out of Kansas City, Missouri, another 4-star defensive lineman. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a young Fedarian Mathis coming out of when Fedarian came out of Louisiana. I think maybe this kid Edric Hill might have a little bit more, pop to him, a little more athleticism than even Fedarian had coming out. But he just reminds me a lot of Fedarian Mathis, and again, he's an outstanding player as well, being highly recruited. So, but those are a couple of others. Yeah, and then I know on July the 16th, you like Alabama, where they stand with Fayetteville, Georgia linebacker Raul Aguirre as well. Yeah, he's from Fayetteville, Georgia, and I know that Georgia's in there. I know, obviously, Ohio State's been in the mix and some others. That have recruited him extremely hard, but I do think that Alabama has been in really good shape with him as well. He made a visit here in June. It seems like after that visit, things really took off. And so on July 16th, right now, if I had to make a prediction, I would say Alabama. Well, good stuff. Great stuff from Rodney Orr talking some Alabama recruiting with us this morning on this Thursday edition of Talkin' Ball. Thank you, Rodney, as always, for taking the time. I know you're very busy. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Tighter Insider. Yeah, it's TighterInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. You can get instant access with your credit card if you prefer. There is an address there to send a check. There's y'all our premium information, which, Drew, we're going to have Coach Blankenship on from Owasso, Oklahoma. Nice. We're going to have him a little bit later. We're going to have a full story with him on Cole Adams. And then our All Sports Forum, which is our community of Alabama fans. I mean, it never stops there on our All Sports Forum. Again, it's TighterInsider.com. Thank you, Rodney. We appreciate it. Okay, Drew and Scott, take care. Happy 4th of July to Rodney Orr. Great stuff there.
Right now, Ohio State currently leading the 24/7 rankings. 14 commits in the barn for Ohio State. Texas at number 2 with 17. I think they've
the Arch effect.
I was going to say, I think they've picked up 9 since Arch Manning committed the other day. Alabama, by the way, sitting at number 18 in the 24/7 rankings with 9. Tennessee is at 13 with 12.
Jeez, I wonder why.
Arkansas is 8 with 16 commits. Georgia is 6th. Funny. Now, this is interesting.
No dirt neck.
Texas A&M coming off that land-breaking recruiting class,
that they bought.
not even sitting in the top 50 right now.
They're probably getting some more of the oil money for the collective to
So-
start going out there.
All right, let's wrap up hour one when we return. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Braves are rolling through the summer with some huge matchups and must-win battles, and we'll bring you every pitch.
High fly ball. Forget about it. It's another home run for Acuna.
Tonight, Dansby Swanson and your Atlanta Braves wrap up their trip to Philadelphia as they face off with the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Braves Radio's on the air at 4:50 Eastern, 3:50 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
DQ presents the sound of a summer double play. It's the sound of drumstick pieces and peanuts combined with world-famous soft serve to make two all-star treats. The drumstick with peanuts blizzard and new caramel drumstick with peanuts blizzard. Grab one today or get it delivered at DQ.com. Official treat of MLB. DQ. Happy tastes good.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
It has been an extremely smooth morning. I don't have anything on the board accident-wise. Had one earlier indicator, Beltline near Danville, had a vehicle hit a utility pole, but that one should be long gone. I've been overweight. 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. If you are a fan of On 3,
yeah,
that's that new sports site.
Yeah, we've had Joseph Aces on, Cole Pinkston.
Ivan Maisel writes for On 3.
Yeah, he does. He sure does. He's one of their main guys.
And he is a fantastic writer.
And historian, yep.
Oh, great. We've had a chance to connect with him at SEC Media Days. He has got a new article out on Will Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not your typical article.
With a writer of that stature, I'm not surprised.
About just numbers and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It really is about numbers and things away from the football field for Will Anderson. And once you read this article, because a lot of people are sitting here in the days of NIL, and I bring this up because we just talked recruiting with Rodney Orr, and he mentioned it about recruits wanting all these NIL deals to come to Alabama. And, you know, we're hearing about it all over the place. NIL, NIL, NIL. Will Anderson has not taken advantage of his full potential NIL stuff at all. I mean, he has not even scratched the surface. And inside this article, basically, you understand why Will Anderson is not doing what he's doing. I mean, you really feel for Will Anderson, and you get a lot of respect for him coming off of this. Inside the article, it talks about the vocal leadership that Will Anderson is and who he is. The national championship game. It goes in detail here, and it says, before the national championship game against Georgia, Nick Saban addressed a team meeting, asked the players to set their curfew. Before anybody could begin the debate, Anderson stood up and said, all you ain't going anywhere. There were other words in there, and Ivan Maisel wrote esteemed teammates. Ain't going anywhere. We're staying in, coach. Anderson sat down, and that was the end of the debate. It goes into what kind of leader he is, who he is during the season. At one point during the year, there was a thing that the athletic director, Greg Byrne, had, and basically it was athletes sat in a room and did phone calls and thanked boosters, thanked people for their monies. Mm-hmm. They say sometimes it's hard to get a lot of these athletes to come in and do this. Will Anderson volunteered and sat on the phones for hours and called people and thanked them personally over the phone.
He's just a rare animal. I mean, he's just and what I mean by that is, in that vernacular, he's just I guess I should I'd say a rare breed. They don't come along every day. I think he's rapidly becoming, along with Minkah Fitzpatrick, in my opinion, C.J. Mosley, kind of defining the Nick Saban era on defense, and may end up being the best of them all. And if you're better than Minkah, that's saying something. But I just think, and I've said this before, I've always said it was blasphemous when somebody would compare someone to Derek Thomas, because I've never seen anybody like him. He was the most dominant. And look, I'm not going to – I was 14, okay? Or excuse me, even younger than that. What am I saying? I was 13 when he was a senior.
Right.
When he had the 27 sacks. So I was just coming into my, own as a watching football. But he was so dominant, Derek was. And then, of course, he was dominant in the NFL. But Will is in that conversation. I mean, and the thing about Will Anderson is he can play the run, he can rush the passer, he does it all. He gets double and even triple teamed, and yet still makes plays. And so, and you just mentioned the rare leadership qualities that he does have.
Right.
He's not afraid to lead. And so I just think he's an unbelievable player. I hope he stays healthy this year. He stayed healthy for the most part last year. He did tweak a knee, played through that. But if he does, he's going to be the most dominant player in the country. And as much as I love Bryce Young, and if the NFL is a quarterback-driven league, he should be the number one overall pick in the draft. It really shouldn't be close.
Right.
I do think it wouldn't have been close this year if he could have declared. I mean, I'm sorry, Trayvon Walker can't clean his bathroom. I don't care what he jumps in the 40. I don't care what he runs. I don't give a dadgum. Will Anderson has made more plays in his career in one season last year than Walker made in 3 years. Okay, and Walker's a good prospect. All right, I'm not saying he was not a first rounder, but there is no way in God's green earth that Will Anderson would not have gone ahead of him. I mean, because when you watch the tape, I don't care about him running somebody. I'm talking about Walker from 20 yards back or whatever time. Who cares? Just watch Will Anderson on film. He should be the first pick in the draft because, again, what has become, besides quarterback, the most valued positions in the NFL? Pass rushers off the edge to get to the quarterback, and then tackles to be able to block said pass rushers. So, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars would have definitely taken Will Anderson, or you could have just flushed their organization straight down the toilet.
All right, so that's really a good top read. If you're looking for something to check out, if you want a good article, check out Ivan Mazel's article on 3 Sports on Will Anderson. Really a good article. It's worth it. All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1. When we come back, we've got a new head basketball coach in the Tennessee Valley on the high school level. His name is familiar, and if you were paying attention to social media over the weekend, there was a picture of him inside Spraggins Hall on the sidelines. Gave you chills.
Yeah,
We'll
I
explain
saw him in said venue there.
Yeah, we'll explain it coming up next.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on Point Mallard indicator east of 6th Avenue. Sounds like it's going to be a no injury. It may actually be pulled off in a parking lot already. Everything else looks good. Traffic level heavy. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Need a temp or an addition for your staff? Snelling specializes in admin, accounting, and medical placement. Snelling, how Huntsville's best companies hire talent. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible across all of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, especially through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Some of those thunderstorms could pack a bit of a punch, some heavy rain, some gusty winds, and some frequent lightning. Otherwise, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s, dropping into the upper 60s, lower 70s as we head into the overnight. We're essentially going to repeat this process as we head into the final day of the work week and the beginning of a long weekend. Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves in Philadelphia continuing their series with the Phillies. Braves will start right-hander Ian Anderson. Phillies also going with the right-hander in Aaron Nola. Atlanta plus a run and a half, minus 170 on the run line. Phillies minus a run and a half, plus 150. On the money line, the Braves plus 120, Philadelphia minus 130 with an over-under of 8.5. The over plus 100 and the under minus 120. NASCAR running the Quick Trip 250 on Sunday at Road America in Wisconsin. Chase Elliott, the betting favorite, at plus 500. Kyle Larson plus 600. For VSiN.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 97.7ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, with that, it is hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. As we alluded to before we took that hour break timeout, switch the attention to high school basketball. And there are some veteran coaches that we've talked to quite a bit during the offseason. Jack Doss, Christian Schweers. We've talked to them, Luther Tiggs.
Yep.
But it is
yep.
also a ground for guys to get their start, for new coaches to come along.
It does, yeah.
And there is a new coach here in the Rocket City taking over a program that has a familiar last name, but trying to create his own identity, his own path, I guess you could say, into the coaching world.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. And he was a two-sport standout at Madison Academy. I got a chance to see him play both sports there for our great friend Andy Blackston, and, of course, for their outstanding baseball program at Madison Academy. For the Hall of Famer Mike Good, I mean, there's no question that he was a three-time state champion, no doubt about that, in baseball, and then a two-time state champion for Andy Blackston in basketball, a winner in every aspect. And he spent some time at Randolph, even during his playing days in baseball. He's a baseball player, for our great friend Hunter Royer at UAH for his collegiate career. And, he was a guy that even at a young age, you could see him following in his father's footsteps, who is one of the greatest men I know. And it was great to see him last week at Coach John Schulman's UAH team camp, elite camp with his Randolph Raiders. He spent some time under Mike Morris as the JV coach and a varsity assistant in the 2021 season. So he was already getting his feet wet. And when this job opened and he was a graduate assistant for his father at Lipscomb, I just kind of felt like it was a natural fit. He was already familiar with the school, and he could young, a lot of energy, and could build a program. And that's exactly what Will Acuff is doing. And he's going to join us now this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and talk some Randolph Raiders basketball and even baseball, because he's going to help out with that program, as you would expect. But Coach Acuff, welcome to the show. You're with Drew and Scott this morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Does that still sound a little bit weird, Coach Acuff?
I'm not gonna lie. The first couple times I heard it, I still kind of look over my shoulder and look for my dad. From the time I was born, every time I heard Coach Acuff, no one's talking to me; they're talking to him. So getting used to it slowly but surely. But there's still definitely times where I'll hear Coach Acuff and I won't turn around because I don't think they're talking to me.
Well, and I've got to ask you this, because I have as much respect for your father as anyone that I've ever met in the coaching profession. I caught up with him in Hoover a few weeks ago, as I told you. We talked. We saw him at the AHSAA event. He was recruiting, certainly, and you got a chance to spend a year with him at Lipscomb and be a graduate assistant there. And I'm sure you've been around your father your entire life, though, and what he did at UAH. But how was it on the Division I level, working for him and being a part of that Lipscomb program? And how did that help you kind of, evolve as a coach?
Yeah, that year is going to be something I cherish for the rest of my life. Since I was born, he's been a college coach, and you see it when he comes home, but you're not in the staff meetings, you're not in the huddle, and you're on the bench. And so there's some stuff that goes into it that you don't even know went into it, like how hard he works, his relationship with the guys and with the coaching staff. And there's just different stuff and that goes into it that I didn't know that went into it. And so that's what he always told me, is you don't really know what you're getting into coaching till you get into it. And being able to see how the sausage is made was something that was really impactful for me. And after seeing it, after the year, remember he asked me, he said, all right, he said, so this is year one, what do you think? You still want to do it? And I said, yes, sir, I do. And so, but being able to do that with him, was awesome. I mean, I've seen him do it for forever, but being able to be on the sideline in the huddle with him is something I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
And now you get a chance to create your own identity, your own path as a head coach as you take over the Randolph program. What was it that said, okay, this is where I want to start. This is what I want to do. How did it become Randolph? And where did that start really begin?
Well, the year that I got to spend there as the JV coach and the varsity assistant was a really good year for me as well. I coached a little bit of AAU before, but never really gotten to be with a team every day and practice them. And Coach Morris gave me that opportunity that year. And just being there and seeing the kind of people that are there and seeing the kids that are there, the people that work there, and just saw that, this could be something special. I mean, that year we get to the Sweet 16. And Coach Morris had done a great job of that program before. I mean, just trying to build off what he has done there. And he takes him to the Sweet 16 in his second year, which was unbelievable. And then just every time I went over there, you feel at home. And having the chance to come back to Huntsville and be closer to family and just growing up here, I couldn't turn it down.
And I know now the familiarity to me was so huge because you already know several of the kids. I know you've seen your father's coaching style, which is a very unique one. I always enjoy watching his teams play, what Coach Morris did. And Coach Morris had extensive collegiate experience as the longtime women's coach at Samford on the collegiate level as well. But you're going to put your own stamp on things. Certainly you're in the midst of doing so as you've taken the helm of the Raiders program over. But talk about the style of basketball and the system that you're going to be able to impart on this program and developing a consistent one. Coach Morris, as you said, he made history. It was the first Sweet 16 appearance for this program at Randolph. But I know your goal is to make it a situation where this is an occurrence that happens constantly and that this program turns into a contender.
Yeah, Coach Morris kind of laid a really good foundation for what I wanted to do. He was old school Princeton style and ran it very, very well. And I feel like the way I'm going to run things over there is going to be more towards how my dad does it, a little more up tempo, not as much true Princeton. We've got some really good athletes over there. A lot of our guys play football and other sports as well, so they're really athletic. So we're going to try to get out and run a little bit and try to speed the game up and create as many possessions for us as we can, especially when we don't have as much size as most teams are going to have. So you got to find an advantage where you can. And so our plan is going to be able to run and play with pace and play with tempo in the half court and try to get the best shot we can get.
We talk about how beneficial summer league ball can be for the players during the summer because they get a chance to work out, they get a chance to play basketball. How beneficial, I know the games don't matter, they don't count as wins, they don't count as losses, but how beneficial have the summer games been for you? I know to get used to the kids, but for you just to adapt to being on the sidelines as a head coach.
Oh, absolutely. That was a big deal for me as well as our players this summer. I mean, one, for our players, we're putting in kind of a new system. There's a little similarities to what Coach Morris did and what I'm trying to do, but there's a lot of differences. And so they've done a great job of being able to just listen and learn and picked it up really well. It's really just an evaluation process for me to kind of see, we had a couple kids that are on that line of do they play JV, do they play varsity, and so kind of throwing them in the fire a little bit in varsity games and seeing how they handle it. And we actually had one of our better players get hurt at the start of the summer, just had a little hamstring problem, so he just sat out just to be safe with Grayson Davenport. And, some younger guys stepped up, like Will Waits and Garrett Trousdale, who were going to be sophomores for us, had really good summers. They kind of got thrown into a big role because of Grayson being out. But we just really treated that as, we wanted to be competitive. That was my whole thing. Is we wanted to be competitive and fight. We might not win every game, but we want to give the other team a fight. And that's what we did. We really fought every game we went into. But it was also a good learning experience for me because, like I said, I've done the JV level where it's more you're trying to develop those kids. It doesn't really matter who wins that game. You're just trying to get them ready for varsity. And then coaching AU, you're more so trying to get those kids exposure. You want those kids to be seen as much as possible. If you win the game, great. If not, great. And so there were times I'd have to look at my assistant, Danny Cervic, and be like, hey, man, don't let me forget these kids over here to sub. And so learning how to do all that was very interesting and a good learning experience for me this summer.
Yeah, very interesting. With Danny Cervic being your assistant, a long-time guy that's been around basketball in our area, very prominent. Very in a lot of different areas too. Played for Ronnie Stapler as well for a state championship team. But talk about that. Talk about who's going to be on your first staff at Randolph, Coach.
Yeah, so we've got Danny Cervic's going to be one of our varsity assistants. I mean, Danny's a very well-known name in Huntsville. Runs Pro 1. He does a great job. He's really good at kind of being a player evaluator and seeing where guys will be best, and that comes from his background as an agent and being able to see guys as individuals and, okay, if we get him here, this is where he's best. And so he's really, really good with that and has a great relationship with the kids. The kids really like him. And he's been on staff there. I think this will be his 5th year. So everyone's comfortable with him over there, and he can kind of help guide me through everything with those kids. We'll also have our JV coach and other varsity assistant will be Trey Hatfield. Trey does an unbelievable job. He has been at Pope John Paul for the past few years, but he's decided to come over here and coach with us, and extremely excited about him. He's a great young basketball mind that loves it. You know, you talk about people that don't like it, they love it, and he absolutely falls in that category. He loves every second of it. He's up there every morning when I'm up there, driving from Decatur, and so and the kids love him. He did a great job with our JV team this summer. I'm really, really excited about him. And then our last piece of our staff is going to be Russ Daniels.
There you go, Grissom Tiger. Yep.
Yes, sir. Russ Daniels came to me a couple of weeks ago, and he called me. You know, Russ played for my dad. I've known Russ for a long time.
That's right.
He said, "Hey, I want to get into coaching. Is there any way I can come help out?" And I said, "Absolutely." You know, he was a great basketball player, but he's an even better person. He's one of the best people I know. And just having a guy like him around our guys, one that played college basketball, and two, that's the kind of person he is. And he's jumped right in. The kids have loved every second of being around him. He really knows basketball, and I think he will really, really help our staff as well.
All right. Will Acuff joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. First year head coach of the Randolph Raider Boys basketball program. Coach, how long before you get that first technical?
I'm going to try to keep away from that as long as I can. You know, I had a pretty good mentor with my dad, seeing how he did it and handled the refs, and as well as Coach Blackson I played for. I don't ever think Coach Blackson got a technical. I played for him. So,
really?
I'm almost positive he never got technical while I was playing for him.
Well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Coach Blackson as well. He of course worked for your father and was an outstanding women's coach at UAH and then at Austin P before coming back and having a 16-year tenure that was unbelievable. 11 Final Fours, 5 state titles. You played on 2 of those teams. And again, what did you take from him experience-wise? And also, to piggyback off the second part of the question, you mentioned it earlier in our conversation, Will, as you do at Randolph, you guys have a lot of multi-sport kids. The thing that I always admired about Madison Academy was you were one of them. There's a lot of multi-sport kids there as well, but there always seemed to be a lot of harmony and there was a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is they worked together. There was a lot of, situations where these coaches had great relationships. They supported each other when kids played multiple sports. But talk about playing for Coach Blackson and then also yourself dealing with the multi-sport athlete.
Yeah, I've known Coach Blackson even before I started playing for him. Obviously, he works for my dad and then was around. So being around him before I played for him was awesome. And then you get over there and everybody kind of talks about Coach Blackson, like his practices, he gets after you. And that's one thing Coach Blackson always did is he ran that high school program like a college program, and that's why it was so successful. He had a standard that you had to meet, and it didn't matter if you were the last guy on the bench or if you were Josh Langford. He held you to that standard, and he didn't take anything for granted, and every game was the biggest game of the year. We went one game at a time, and that's kind of what I'm going to try to take from him is the importance of just going one game at a time, don't getting so far ahead. And then also giving a standard for your players and not budging that standard. It doesn't matter if you're the last guy off the bench or if you're your best player. There's a standard that is held here and that you need to meet. And if I don't hold that standard, they won't do that as well. And that's kind of what he taught me is every day you show up and you got to win every day. And that's kind of, if you weren't ready to win that day, he was going to make sure you won that day whether you liked it or not. But my experience with him was great. He was awesome. I mean, he's MA 16 years, goes to Birmingham 11 of them. I mean, that's stuff you don't see. I mean, was one of the best coaches in Alabama, is now one of the best coaches in Tennessee. And so that was a big, big part of my life playing for him and just kind of showing me how I wanted to coach as well. And then our multiple sport guys, like you said, I did play multiple sports in high school. I think it's really good when you do play multiple sports in high school. I think when you get bogged down into one sport, you kind of get so wrapped up in it that one bad day you feel like your world's over. Like I know there'd be multiple days in summer where I would go play a couple team camp games and I'd have to go play a travel game, and so you really don't have a whole lot of time to worry about what happened in your basketball game because now you're driving to a baseball game. And I think sports complement each other. Stuff you do in basketball helps baseball. Stuff you do in baseball helps basketball. And the same thing with football. But that's something that when you go to a school like Randolph or like Madison Academy, you're going to share athletes. I mean, 7 of our 10 on varsity play football, and they were very key contributors on football. But Coach Lloyd has been great. You know, we've worked together. He's been really good about – he's knowing we've got team camp the next day, and he's giving guys off. He's calling me and making sure. And as well as Coach Bodie, who's the new baseball coach over there, he's been great about talking with me about, hey, what are y'all doing? Don't want to run your guys. And they've been great. And so understanding, working with them and getting the best out of our guys and pushing them in our sport that will help them in their sport as well.
Well, one of the things of being a head coach, and I'm sure, I mean, there's a lot of things that you're going to cross off your list being the first time. One is designing a schedule. You got to come up with a schedule and find out and then who you got to play. How much of that was determined before you got in there, and what do you have left to do as far as picking a schedule?
Yes, so Coach Morris had already kind of gotten the majority of it done. We picked up a few more games, and so we actually do have our schedule finished out now. So we're ready to go. That was interesting. One of the interesting games I got to pick up was one of my best friends, Zach Meredith, just got the Lindsay Lane job. And
there you go.
We had one game open, and they had one game open. So he called me, and he was like, hey, man, you want to play? And so I was like, absolutely. So that'll be a little fun thing we get to do. We get to play them. And he's a first-time head coach. I am as well, and so that'll be a cool moment for both of us.
Is that kind of fun, getting to pick that schedule a little bit? Was it easy?
It was a little tougher than you think. You don't realize how much goes into it. I think, like you said, there's going to be a lot of things that I didn't realize how hard or what would go into it as I get into coaching. It wasn't too bad because most of our games are already on there, but there were some, and especially dealing with the football schedule where, you know, our football team was really good last year. They got a chance to be really good again this year. If they keep winning, we kind of have to move our schedule back a little bit because, like I said, 7 of our 10 varsity players play football.
Yeah, they do. And then you're also going to be an assistant for Coach Bodie over there in the baseball program. I know baseball was a love of yours. You played it collegiately for our good friend Hunter Royer in his UAH program. So how's it going to be coaching multiple sports? Is that something that you anticipated maybe doing when you were going to get into the business?
It was not something I anticipated doing, but when Mr. Davenport in our first interview told me that he would like me to help coach with baseball, I was like, absolutely, I will. I think that's something good, you know. And then they always forget, you know, I don't know if forget's the right word, but I did play college baseball, so it's kind of sounds weird. The kid that plays college baseball is going to be the basketball coach and the assistant baseball coach. But I'm excited to be out there. Coach Bodie's been great, one of those guys, and I'm excited to work with him and be out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Derek Bodie taking over that program. And then as we're wrapping it up with you the last few minutes with Will Acuff, first-year head basketball coach of the Randolph Raiders, talk about your dad as far as he's mentored so many coaches. You've already mentioned Russ Daniels now that's going to get into the business that played for him, Andy Blackston. What was his advice to you when this opportunity came up? Because, again, you'd been in GA for 1 year. You're still very young. You'd, of course, coached there for a season. But it's all coaching moves. A lot of time are about timing. When you guys discussed it, which I'm sure you did, what was his advice to you?
He just said, you need to go where you feel like God is calling you to go. And I felt like God was calling me to Randolph, and it was a time to go there. And just understanding there's no experience like being the head coach. And, you know, he got his head coaching job at the same age I got it. Granted, he was in college.
Interesting.
So he just kind of telling me, you know, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to hit, and you're not even going to know that you need to worry about it. And it's going to be something that comes across your plate that you're like, wow, I didn't know I'm going to have to deal with this. And his big thing, and the reason why I chose Randolph, he said, you know, coaching and X's and O's is like 10 to 15%. Dealing with people, dealing with your players, dealing with faculty and staff and parents are the other 90 to 85%. And he said, so you need to go somewhere where you're going to be around good people that care about you and that have the same vision as you do. And just that's exactly what Randolph lined up with. And, you know, he's tried to, I think at times he tries not to give as much advice because he wants to try to let me sink or swim on my own. But I call him basically after every game or after every day and kind of ask him, okay, this is what happened. What do you think about this? And and he always helps me with that. And so it's pretty good to have a guy like that to just call whenever I need something.
No question. And then I know it's going to be historical and emotional for you. Give us the date, the first game for the Randolph Raiders for you.
So that is a TBD because more than likely
because of football.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Football. So they're gonna. It would be Madison County on. I'm pretty sure November 12th. I could be wrong. I need to double check that schedule for you.
But hey, you're right. Football
no,
could play a role in that. You're no doubt.
So. I hope that we do have to move it back. I hope our football team keeps rolling, has another year like they did. But if for some reason something happens, they don't, it would be Madison County. I'm pretty sure it's November 12th would be our first day.
Well, we're certainly going to circle that. And my final question for you, Will, I know you're still getting a feel for your guys. You've just, kind of finished your coaching staff as well with Russ Daniels being the final piece. You've got Danny Cervic with you. You got some outstanding guys helping you build this, but what are your expectations for year one for your Raiders?
When you get there and you kind of see, you walk in and it's a college campus basically.
It is, yes.
It's unbelievable. And so going there with our guys, and what I just want to do is create excitement. I think when you get caught up in the win-loss total in year one, obviously you want to go out and win every game, but I just think we need to keep getting better every single day, and that's kind of what Coach Blackson taught me is record's going to be what the record is. We just got to keep getting better. And what I want to do is I want to create excitement around our program. I think that's one thing that's kind of lacked in recent years is the excitement around the basketball program. Just I think, especially with football taking off, guys have really kind of gravitated towards that. And so I want when kids walk into our practice and our gym, they're excited to be there and they want to go to work and they're going to have fun while we're in there, but we're also going to work. Just be competitive. I want us to go in at every game. Like I told our guys, there's no way we're going to go 30-0. That's just not going to happen. But what we can do is we can go out there and when we walk off the court and every team walks off the court, they're like, man, everything we got tonight was earned. It was a dogfight from the time that ball went in the air. It was a dogfight to that last buzzer hit. That's just what I want our guys to do is be competitive and fight. And that's what they did all summer. The best thing that happened was I told everybody I talked to is, not one time did I have to coach effort. Not one time all summer did I have to. They are great kids. They play incredibly, incredibly hard, and they try really, really hard to do what I ask them to do. And so they make it a lot of fun. That's all I can ask.
Well, we certainly are excited for you and your family. Great opportunity for you to build a program at Randolph and continue to enhance our community. We consider ourselves the mecca and the hub of basketball in the state of Alabama. We look forward to speaking with you again down the road, Coach. We thank you for taking some time to shed some light on this move in Randolph Raiders boys basketball. But good luck to you. Have a great rest of your summer, and we look forward to speaking with you soon down the road. But great to have you on the show for the first time, and congratulations, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Thank you all for having me. Y'all have a good one, too.
Thanks. Will Lacuff, new head coach.
Very impressive. No shocking.
Yeah, very impressive interview. And,
yes, very impressive.
And he's right.
Not a shock at all.
You just pick up the phone and you make a phone call and you have some great advice right there. But I can imagine, though, too, at times he's going to want to try to create his own identity, his own path going forward.
Make his own imprint in the coaching community.
All right, let's get that break in. When we come back, Jeremy Pruitt. We're going to hear from Jeremy Pruitt about his coaching time at Tennessee.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
One wreck showing now. Point Mallard Parkway in Decatur, east of 6th Avenue. No injury. Sounds like it's been moved off into a parking lot, so it should not be causing a major problem. We got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning. That's definitely going to be a problem. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Dr. Sandlin has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
The Braves are rolling through the summer with some huge matchups and must-win battles, and we'll bring you every pitch.
High fly ball. Forget about it. It's another home run for Acuna.
Tonight, Dansby Swanson and your Atlanta Braves wrap up their trip to Philadelphia as they face off with the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Braves radio's on the air at 4:50 Eastern, 3:50 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Download our app today. Just search 97.7 ESPN.
It's water and dust resistant.
That's 977 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And that's it.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
That's right. It is 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And Jeremy Pruitt, we all know his saga, his journey.
Yep.
You know, where Florida State, Alabama, wherever, Tennessee, I mean, all the stops. We know Jeremy Pruitt spent last year in the NFL. Jeremy Pruitt spent the other day talking to Mike Griffith and was asked about what he learned from being a head coach during his time at Tennessee. Our internet is moving. It's okay. No, it's all right. I hadn't hit play in a while, so I had it all set to go.
Yeah.
And now I get the spinning wheel of death here. The
spinning wheel of death.
So I'm going to refresh this here. But anyway, he sat down with Mike Griffith, and they talked about what life was like in Knoxville and what he learned. Got an audio render error. I'm going to have to re-pull this up here.
It's acting quirky right now.
Really quirky. So anyway, I tell you what, let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline while I redo this.
This gentleman will not be quirky.
Yeah, well.
He will be straightforward. It's Jeff from the Borough. What's up, Jeff?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
First of all, I just want to comment that caller called that BS day. The reason why, I don't know what his name, Shawshank or Shane Sean,
Shane Sean, yeah, he was getting all over it, yeah.
Shane Sean or
yeah.
Shane, whatever he calls.
Shawshank.
Whatever he calls. The reason why I mentioned Conference USA is Middle Tennessee's my alma mater.
Yeah, that's right. You did go to Middle Tennessee. That's a very good point.
I went to Middle Tennessee. And also, pal, somebody over there, Kermit Davis was over there. We went to Ole Miss. All he did through the last 3 years, he beat somebody named Tom Izzo.
Yeah, and he ruined my bracket. I had them winning the national championship, Jeff.
Yeah, he beat Michigan State. I know you probably ain't heard of him, Shawshank, because all you know about football. You never heard of Tom Izzo, probably. And he also beat Minnesota the next year in the NCAA tournament.
Sure did.
But what I want to do is say, is he's talking about Kentucky yesterday. Mark Stoops, all he's done, he's the second longest tenured coach in the SEC. Somebody named Saban or something. He's pretty good. Saban's a pretty good coach. He tries to get good. I think his father was Lou Saban, wasn't it? Supposed to be in the NFL.
No, actually, he's not related to Lou Saban. I will say that, Jeff.
He's played I guess a little bit.
I would say that, yes.
He's the second longest tenure coach, and this year he's going to be the first guy in Kentucky football history the last 10 years. Okay, so that's what it amounts to, and we'll play who we want to. If you want to go back and watch that COVID mess with no fans, go back and watch it. Let me give you a little synopsis of the coaches that had the virus. Saban, Pittman, Mullen virus. They all got the virus. Eli Gold got the virus. Okay, Barnes, Pruitt, Fulmer virus. Okay, Tennessee couldn't even play in their bowl game that year. They went to the COVID bowl, didn't want to get the vaccine. They didn't play at all. Okay, Alabama was the Southeastern coronavirus champions. They played Arkansas in the semifinal. Pittman beat them. Pittman had the virus. They played Florida in the finals and beat them. So they're the Southeastern coronavirus champions 2020. So you wouldn't go back and watch that junk. You go back and watch it. Nobody else does. I can guarantee you. Nobody else wants to watch it with no fans and all the other mess. We want to move forward in life. You go back and watch that junk. But let me tell you something. You don't like the fact that Kentucky's gotten better in football. That's what you don't like. You want to see like Indiana in the Big Ten. A guy wrote a couple years ago that he was tired of people rating his state for players, and he said Penn State and all these Michigan State and all the rest of them in the Big Ten don't want Indiana to get good. So they don't want us to get good. Stay down. You stay down there. Don't you get good in football. Don't think about it. One day, maybe we're going to be good. He's going to pass that guy Houndstooth. He was pretty good. Pretty good. He was pretty good. He tried to get better. He left Kentucky because he didn't want to be number 2 at Kentucky. That's why he left. It wasn't nothing to do with no watch or car or nothing like that. Because he knew Adolph Rupp was number 1. He couldn't hang with it. So you hang in there, Shawshank.
Well, before you go, Jeff, I want to ask you something. Did you? I know you listened to our show. We appreciate it. Did you hear our segment with Freddie Maggard and what he said? I wanted to get your thoughts on what he said there.
He didn't hear it.
No, but he said something very significant at the start of the segment, Jeff. He said that Mark Stoops has done such a great job at Kentucky that he's more popular in the state than John Calipari.
Well, right now, he's probably right because everybody knows what he's done, and with the first round loss to Kentucky had last year. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I met a guy up here in town last year, and he told me he wanted Calipari fired. Is what he said, but he's not going to. But yeah, I'd probably say right now he probably is more popular because Calipari said coming this year, he said he's going to use that loss as motivation. Yeah, I agree with that. He probably is right now. If you took a poll, that Stoops is probably the most popular coach on campus as far as reading football and basketball. There's no doubt about that. I agree with that. But Shawshank, give me some comments on that, will you? And go back and watch the COVID. Nobody else wants to do, but you can, son. Have a good day.
Thank you, Jeff.
So, Shawshank. We need to hear from Shawshank, apparently. Well, we're going to hear from Jeremy Pruitt. I got this ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, here is Jeremy
Very
Pruitt.
resourceful. Scott figures it out.
Here's Jeremy Pruitt on what he learned from being a head coach at Tennessee.
Lots of things, right? The longer you do something, the better you get at it. I think if you look at any assistant coach, it's a first-time coordinator, a head coach, it's a first-time head coach. The longer you do something, obviously the more time on it, you're going to improve at it. I would say for me, to figuring out that I couldn't do it all myself. I had always been on one side of the ball, and it was easy to manage one side of the ball and coach my position. When you add three, the offensive element, the special teams element, the recruiting and all the things involved, it takes a lot of folks. So, probably that's probably the biggest thing is learning that. And you can't believe everything that you're told either.
I love that last part.
That's Jeremy
I think
Pruitt.
He's taking a shot at Fatimus Maximus, a.k.a. Phil Fulmer.
We're going to break what Jeremy Pruitt said down here in just a second, but Shawshank, Shane Shaw, or whoever, joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, sir.
What's up, Shane Shaw?
Oh, it's Shawshank, apparently.
Yeah, you got a nickname now, dude.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I was going to keep my mouth shut, but this dumbass don't know when the shut is. I'm telling you, I've told Drew this before, and I probably shouldn't say this on the radio, but when I picture Jeff from the borough, I picture somebody riding in on a wrecking ball, big old fat dude with long, stringy hair that looks like it fell out with a Marlboro in your mouth, you dumbass. Listen, Listen, I'm glad that you went to college, but I don't know how the hell you got a diploma to call yourself an alma mater. I got to listen to Jeremy Pruitt just now. He's a lying cheater, but at least he makes sense, stupid ass. I'm out.
Oh, Lord. We hear from Shawshank, a.k.a. Shane Sean.
There we go.
Short and to the point, Scott.
Oh, my goodness. We're just going to leave that one alone. Jeremy Pruitt, what were your thoughts there? I mean, you said he thought he was taking a shot at Philip Fulmer there at the end.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I don't think in the end that he had a good relationship with Phil. I don't think he trusted him. I mean, it's a shocker, Scott, that Philip Fulmer would throw somebody under the bus. Aren't you shocked for that, considering that's what he did to the late, great Johnny Majors to get the head coaching job many, many years ago? I mean, come on. It's old hack for Philp. Coach Fulmer had a great career at Tennessee. There's no doubt about it. May end up in the College Football Hall of Fame. But, as we said before, I've never been a huge fan of Coach Fulmer's. I was always more of a Johnny Majors guy. And Coach Majors won a national championship of his own just at Pitt. I had one of the great teams of all time with Tony Dorsett at the time at Pitt in for him. But, again, I do think Jeremy made some mistakes at Tennessee. I do think he needs to be back in college coaching. There's so many guys that get second and third chances that have run afoul, including Hugh Freeze, who we've talked about, ad nauseum. I mean, Hugh Freeze in his Ole Miss program, I think, did many more things that have been proven than what Tennessee has allegedly done. So we'll see. Really no sanctions for Tennessee yet, but Jeremy and his lawyer, I know, are trying to work through that and get him cleared, much like Bo Davis had to spend some time in the NFL and then, at UT Arlington and things of that nature before he was able to get back to Texas on the Division I Power 5 level where he should have been and should be. But that's just part of it. It's sometimes you have to go through trials, and certainly Jeremy's going through one now. From what I understand, he's helping his father, Dale Pruitt, a great friend of the show, who's now back for his third tenure at Plainview High School. And this year he's going to spend some time, I think, back on his grassroots level in high school.
He also talked about his time off. Here's him talking about his time off.
Sometimes you don't realize when you receive a blessing. And probably for me, no disrespect to anywhere I've ever worked, but just for me and my family, my wife and my children, this has been good for us. It's been really good for us. So we're excited to see what happens over the next 7 months and the time that we get to spend together. So I've done a lot of things in the last 5 months that I didn't even dream that my wife was doing. So let me tell you, the coaches' wives out there, they do not get enough credit, I can assure you.
What kind of, give me some examples. What she got you doing, or what have you done, Jeremy, that you weren't aware that Miss Pruitt had to deal with, that you had to deal with these last 5 or 6 months?
Well, I mean, just everything, because I've never been at home. I mean, for the last how many years we've been married, 8, 9 years, I'm never at home. And so I sent her off for a week. Mike, I'm not sure I had anything to eat or showered for 2 or 3 days. I don't know how they do it. And I was begging her to come home.
So Jeremy getting some time with his family, some quality time. And let me correct something. UT San Antonio, Bo Davis, he actually worked that year with Pete Golding before Pete Golding became the DC at Alabama. But I do think Jeremy will be back in the college game. I think that's where he fits. He's an outstanding recruiter. I still think he's the best DC that Nick Saban ever had. Does such a great job simplifying schemes, communicating with players. He did a great job helping Dirtneck. Dirtneck should be giving some of that $96 million to him because he coordinated the defense that won Florida State the national championship that year in 2013. Then he helped Mark Richt at Georgia for a time before coming back to Alabama and helping them win a national championship, certainly in 2017. So Jeremy Pruitt's just done an amazing job in his career. There's no doubt about it. and I think he's going to, get another opportunity to be a defensive coordinator on the Power 5 level, and maybe even down the road get another head coaching opportunity. But certainly, I think he's too good a defensive mind, too good a recruiter to be, out of the college game for long. Certainly, hopefully he and his lawyer can get this worked out with the University of Tennessee and both parties can move on. But good to see Jeremy back with his father, back where it all started. As we all know, a great player for his father at Plainview before going to middle his career at the University of Alabama.
I thought we would like that little Jeremy Pruitt there. They're enjoying his time off, enjoying it. The only thing is, we don't know when we'll see him back on the sidelines because Tennessee's kind of holding that hostage right now. Well, so is the NCAA.
Well, and I know you're shocked by this. The NCAA moves slow.
Yeah,
and so they're moving slow with the process. We'll see what happens. When they came out with the findings, I don't know that they named Jeremy Pruitt in them, and so I think that's kind of the sticking point. But Greg Sankey took his time before allowing Bo Davis back. In coaching. What I mean by that is Bo had interest from SEC schools that didn't come to fruition, so he had to intern in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had to go to UT San Antonio. Then he had to go to the NFL with the Detroit Lions, and then come back to college for the second time working for Texas and Steve Sarkisian. So again, he had to kind of bide his time, but get another opportunity, and now he'll be back in the SEC, potentially with Texas when they're in the league.
Yeah,
he's in the Big 12 right now, helping trying to fix that soft Texas defense. But again, Jeremy Pruitt, I think, will have his opportunities. He probably could have gone to another collegiate job.
Yeah,
I even the word I had was, and it still may happen. But I thought during the spring that, and it still may happen even in the fall, that he was going to be a consultant at Maryland, putting in their defensive scheme. Their safeties coach is a very familiar name to all of us, Wesley Neighbors, who knows that scheme very well also. And Mike Loxley has a first-time defensive coordinator on his, that's taken over. They're trying to implement the what Alabama does defensively. And so who better than Wesley Neighbors at safeties coach to help implement this, and Jeremy Pruitt to be another set of eyes. So we'll see. He may have helped in the spring. That's what I was told was going to happen. He may help in the fall, but he's also going to help his father at Plainview. So we'll see about that because Kevin Steele took the DC's job for about 2 weeks at Maryland, and then going to Miami to work for Mario Cristobal.
I want to ask you this real fast. Is Jeremy Pruitt in the same boat as Will Muschamp, where neither one of them probably will get another Division I major head coaching job and both be coordinators from here on out? Are they both kind of in that same boat?
No, Will has had multiple chances, and Will had a job at a very prominent place at Florida and didn't win, and then he didn't win at South Carolina. Jeremy had a chance to work at Tennessee. If he can come back and have a multi-year run at somewhere like in Alabama and win another championship or two, I still think he'll get another shot because Will got multiple shots. And then I think it'll be what he does with the second chance. And Will did not do, very well at South Carolina. He had a couple of great wins, like when he beat Kirby Smart, in Athens, and upset him, but it was never able to be consistent. I do think if Jeremy, he's young enough still in his career, if he can come back and work for a Nick Saban or work for a program.
What about like a Texas with a Steve Sarkisian?
Potentially, if he can work for a prominent program, just stay away from Dirt Neck. That's all I'll say. I know he helped him win his only championship and is the only reason that the guy got the $96 million, because probably wouldn't have if he didn't, win the national championship when Malzahn blew a 21-3 lead.
Right.
Heck, Malzahn might be the coach of Texas A&M right now. Who knows? But I'm just saying that I do think if he goes to a prominent place, Jeremy Pruitt, and can, help that program,
his image a little bit maybe.
Well, I don't know if it needs to be rehabbed. I just think it's one of those things where, again, I guess you could call it that, the Nick Saban rehab clinic if he went to Alabama. But if he can go to a prominent program, run a defense, recruit at the highest level, win a championship or two, then I think he could definitely get another opportunity. But again, before he got in trouble at Tennessee, he'd never been in trouble. So I don't know how much rehab will have to happen because, again, I think one of those things is he was just a first-time head coach. Sometimes those don't go very well.
Right.
Same way with Will Muschamp. But certainly the NCAA investigation didn't help. But I do think regardless, even if they hadn't been investigated, Tennessee was going to move on because the program was not progressing under Jeremy Pruitt. I really don't think Jeremy should have took the Tennessee job. If it's all truthful and everything, I know they didn't choose him, but I think he would have been a better fit at Mississippi State where he interviewed because Tennessee is a very difficult situation right now. We'll see if Josh Heupel can continue that, but certainly I do think since Will Muschamp got 2 chances, and of course working for Nick Saban had a lot to do with that, but if Jeremy Pruitt, say he can go back to Alabama when Pete Golding gets a head coaching opportunity and run Alabama's defense and help Nick Saban maybe finish his career as the greatest of all time and win championships, then I certainly think that Jeremy Pruitt can get another chance.
Let's get that final break in. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are wrapping it up in pretty good shape this morning. Had one wreck on Point Mallard east of 6th Avenue in Decatur. That one's off in a parking lot, so no problem for traffic there. Everything else looking good. Looks like most everybody's going to be in very close to on time this morning. Cajun Rice is back at Popeyes, and their 11-piece chicken family meal with 2 sides and 5 biscuits is now only $22.99. Popeyes, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
DQ presents the sound of a summer double play. It's the sound of drumstick pieces and peanuts combined with world-famous soft serve to make 2 all-star treats. The Drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard and new Caramel Drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard. Grab one today or get it delivered at DQ.com. Official treat of MLB. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Did you know Kohl's has beyond epic deals just in time for 4th of July fun? I just got buy one, get one for $1 Jumping Beans Kids Finds, shorts for less than $18, and swimsuits for just $17.99. The best part? I didn't need any coupons, earned Kohl's Cash, and got free store pickup. So yeah, run to Kohl's. Select styles. Sale ends July 4th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey.
With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
Your representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Short time left here of our 2-hour extravaganza. Don't forget, Drew and I will be live tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. to 9 at Metro Diner along Highway 72. We're going to enjoy a little breakfast. And then on Saturday afternoon, I believe, we'll be at University Kia along University Drive for a special Saturday edition show. Chad, the Braves play at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Is that right? Is that what time they play? I looked ahead at the schedule and I peeked at it and I thought it was 3. I could be wrong. I'm hoping it's 3 because we'll lead right into the Braves on Saturday.
Well, dang it! What I need to be doing is Brandon sent me a bunch of these schedules. I should have put one of them up in here with these magnetic deals.
I couldn't read those things. Those things are so small.
Well, I mean, I got one on my refrigerator that after using my oven for the first time. We know that was the topic to start the show.
My wife told me that I need to get a pair of those reading glasses because you would see better if you would get a pair of reading glasses to use every now and then.
Well, I think Will Muschamp uses those sometimes when he's reading his play sheet. At least I saw him over South Carolina. It didn't work out all the time, but I mean,
3 o'clock. So they do play
3 o'clock.
So I think we'll go. We'll go from like 1 to 3 on Saturday.
And Arthur just took care of you. You haven't told anybody about that. You got a nice new ride.
Yeah, University
from our great
Kia.
sponsor.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We talk with Arthur Seaton all the time, and
it's probably like the Tron sequel.
You
just cruised on in here with your automatic start and everything like that. You can start the car from here.
Haven't figured out how to work that yet. Anyway, so we were out there yesterday with Arthur doing some commercial work.
Yeah.
And doing some stuff that you're going to see on our Facebook page here coming up in the next few days. And I just leaned over and said, buddy, I need a car. And he's like, you've come to the right place. And the car had just been delivered. It was only been on the lot for 20 minutes. It's the last one that they had. And
of course, because they sell 5 or 6 cars every time we're over there. So if 97.7 The Zone's over there, they're selling cars as soon as they get them off the truck.
So we got one yesterday. And thank you to University Kia. When we say we want to see you in a Kia, we really want to see you in a Kia because I am driving now a car. Thank you to University Kia. And University Kia will actually be you and I when we head to SEC Media Days. University Kia will be the official transportation provider.
I hope so because I need some.
For Talking Ball.
Everybody knows my situation.
Yeah, we'll pick up Steve Moulton along the way. Yeah. Well, we'll have half of the drive with us. But
so Tokyo Drift won't have to drive.
They are the official transportation providers for Talking Ball to SEC Media Days. The Atlanta Braves going for a sweep today. The Philadelphia Phillies.
Kyle Wright was awesome last night, man. Great. 7 innings. 1 run. It was a home run to Reese Hoskins that, as you heard on Zone Center, just barely hit the foul pole. Other than that, he was unreal. 98 pitches, Scott. 9 wins now. I believe he's 9-4. It was his first win of his career against Philadelphia. So Kyle Wright continues to excel. It's always great seeing a homeboy go to the major leagues and do well, especially for your favorite team, the Braves. So Ian Anderson will be on the bump tonight as they try to sweep the hated Phillies.
Man, what a year for baseball in North Alabama on the pro level.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Kyle Wright doing his thing. We got a lot of guys from our area that are up on the mound. Cincinnati Reds, Kansas City Royals, Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's just all over the place. Good to see.
We're very blessed.
That's it for our 2 hours of fun. Again, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, Metro Diner, and then on Saturday, University.
Thank you to Jeff and the Burra, Shawshank, Shane
Sean.
Sean. Thank you to Coach Acuff. What a great interview. We'll have that up for you. And, of course, Rodney Orr talking Alabama recruiting. We'll see you tomorrow at Metro Diner.
We need to put both of them in the ring. Yeah. Let them go at it.